This past weekend, dozens of local World War II veterans took a trip they had waited for a long time. They flew down to Washington, D.C. to visit the memorial built in their honor. And some of them are joining us this morning to tell us all about the experience, one that they are still talking about this morning. So many memories from last weekend. So thank you all for joining us this morning. I want to briefly go through and introduce everybody so we make sure we can speak to you all. Tell us your name and how you're involved with Honor Flight.
Jack Phillips. I was called by Vince Hope to see if I'd like to take a trip down to Washington with another buddy of mine, Freddie Ayers. And I said, yes, I'd like to go, and it was a wonderful trip.
And you are?
I'm Janet Roll from Brockport. My son got me into this. He heard about Vince's trip for me, and he had put me in my name in, and I went, and it was beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely incredible.
Vince, 55 people on the plane last weekend going down to D.C.?
We actually had 102 people on the plane last
Oh, I'm sorry,
weekend.
55 were veterans?
Well, we had 56 veterans traveling with us and the support crew that we needed to pull this off.
Yeah. Didn't mean to reach over you. Can you tell us your name?
My name's Don Reinhardt, and was very happy to go on the trip. And I want to thank all the staff and all the people who contribute.
And we'll talk about that part in 1 second. What was the best part of the trip for you, looking back on it now?
I think going through the different
Seeing different parts of the memorial?
memorial, yeah.
We've got some pictures, too, that some of you have shared with us of your trip. Hopefully we can show them so that some of the viewers can see what the experience was like. Tell us your name.
Eddie Friend. I'm from Williamson, and I enjoyed the trip very, very much, and I'm glad I could be part of it.
And this is Vince. You've heard his name mentioned a couple times here, who helped organize this trip. Give everybody a sense, Vince, of how the community came together to help make this happen.
Well, people make reference to Vince giving calls and things. This is an incredible collaboration by our community to help lift our most senior veterans to the memorial. It was just built 4 years ago. So the opportunity to do this is very short. And an example of the support that we have to make this work, we had 20 volunteers from the community who aren't on the trip show up at 4 o'clock in the morning at the airport to get ready for us to show up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, they weren't traveling. They were just here to do this. That level of support has echoed out ripples throughout the community. And the most important part in the end is the financing, that we've been able to, at this point, raise about $50,000.
And how have you been able to do that? What kinds of businesses and people have stepped forward?
No, it's the old-fashioned way. It's checks for $50 and $75 in people's memory. We've been surprised with wonderful donations from VFW and Legion Posts. Rotary have spread out through all the businesses that represent any one Rotary, or Lions Club, or Kiwanis. So it's really churches, schools. The schools have been incredible. There's a whole story about schools that relates to the trip and the children that greeted these guys down there.
All right, well, we're going to get to that in our next segment. We've got to go for now, but we're also going to put information up on 13wham.com. If you, too, if your school or your business or your family would like to help out as well. There was a full plane over the weekend. They went down to D.C. and came back with many, many memories, which we'll talk about after the next commercial break. We'll be back. So this morning we are talking about Honor Flight, a great experience over the weekend for a lot of local veterans, a trip of a lifetime for many of them. More than 50 veterans who went down to Washington, D.C. to visit the memorial that was built in their honor. What you're seeing right now is some video of them coming back over the weekend and being greeted by, in many cases, total strangers. David, what was that like for you?
It was just amazing, and the people that were there, we didn't know them, but they all were clapping and saying, thank you, at Baltimore Airport, and also when we got to the Arlington Cemetery, the World War II Memorial, and the kids were there all singing. They sang songs from this choir from South Dakota, or North Dakota? South Dakota, I think it was. Well, it was beautiful. It just, as they say, awesome.
Yeah. We're joined this morning by 4 veterans and also some guardians this morning. I want to make sure that we get your names.
Bill Rowe.
Katie Zimmer. Sue Welch. Tammy LeBar.
And also an important role that they played because they accompanied these veterans down there. I want to talk to you as well about perhaps some of your most memorable moments of your trip.
I think going to the memorial was one of the, and it still hasn't got together yet.
Well, yeah, I know you talked about that earlier too. You're still digesting that information this morning. Is that the same for you?
Yes, World War II memorial, which we hadn't seen before because it's fairly new, and the Korean one, that one gets to you. And then the Korean, Vietnamese nurses were caring for somebody, and one was looking up for a helicopter to come and get her patient out of there. It was very moving, very moving.
What do you think, Eddie, about the community coming together to make this happen for a lot of local veterans, including yourself?
It was very nice for everybody to work together and sponsor, that trip. It was fantastic. And I also got to meet Senator Dole. He was down there greeting us when we get off the plane. It was just out of this world. And the memorial is beautiful.
And besides the memorial, too, I imagine just being able to talk with other veterans, too, about the experience was at times very moving.
Right, that's right.
Vince, we've got about 30 seconds left. What do you want people at home to know if they'd like to help out and make this happen for some other veterans?
Well, the primary thing is our website. If folks can go to www.honorflightrochester.org. From there, veterans can apply to go, guardians can apply to go, but most importantly, the community can donate.
And we'll put a link to that on 13wham.com.
Thank you.
Thanks for waking up early this morning and coming into the studio to share your experience. We do appreciate it. We've got to go for now. We've got your latest local headlines and a check of that forecast coming up next.